Hi, this is Cindy
And Michael.
from Part-Time Permies, and good evening to Valerie and that 1870s Homestead and Bree. Hello, hello, welcome. We got a few things to go over today, and as usual, there looks like there's a very slight delay, only a minute or so on the video from our end. So be patient if we ask a question. We might have to wait for people's response, but yeah. So we had another busy week. I only got one video done.
We haven't flooded out yet.
Oh my gosh, it's been raining all day today. And we actually took that opportunity to clean up inside. So I still haven't edited my next video, but
We spent so many days and weeks trying to get outdoor cleanup and gardens that today we got indoors for a little bit of time.
yep. At 1870, someone said, yes, happy birthday to Lucky. I think his hatch day was yesterday. So yeah, he's 1 year old and he's actually quite lucky to have made it, which is why we have his name. So we'll go through a little bit.
He's been hanging out in the yard in the rain.
Oh yeah,
While the birds
enjoying
are
it.
hiding most of the time under the coop. He's just hanging out in the yard.
Yes. Good evening, Finite World. Um, yeah, the geese definitely like to hang out in the rain. Like Gus won't even go into the coop at night. He would rather just stay out all night. I don't know if he's awake all night or what. I did see him napping during the day today, though.
I have seen him standing and staring, like sort of half awake in a
Yeah.
trance, eyes open, sleeping. I'm not sure what, but I know he does sleep at night
During
at times. But there are times
yeah,
he's just kind of standing there.
he was all cuddled up with his head tucked under his wing this afternoon for a little bit. So
I think people say with it geese. I think there were studies about them when they do their long range flights and migrations.
yeah,
They fly for hours. They do land, of course, but I believe they sort of like sleep
like
or
to go into a trance in
yeah, they sort of go into like a screensaver mode and they sort of rest while in flight. I think there's some studies that I was seeing a while ago.
Yeah, that's
So
interesting.
maybe they're doing that at night a little bit.
Yeah.
They don't seem to need very much sleep compared to the chickens.
Yeah, no, the chickens definitely need their night sleep, it seems. Um, and yeah, so we have it looks like about 8 people in the room, so we'll get going on things a little bit. You guys can hear us all right, right? Just should double check the volume and all of that. But I did have some pictures. And I could tell there's a delay because people are saying hi back, I think now, and that's a few minutes after we said it. So that's all right. But I did put together some pictures, and the blog this week I didn't do a herb of the week with the blog, but I'll do a quick herb of the week today, and we have a couple announcements that we'll go through related to the herb of the week. And well, Hootenanny, we're actually can't see it on the screen, I don't think, but we're both wearing our Hootenanny T-shirts. We'll have to show you.
Semi accidentally.
Yeah, actually completely accidentally. Although I had mine on first. I have last year's on. You have this year's
I
on.
was on the pile of some clean clothes after
Yeah.
cleaning the house all day in the humidity. I'd taken a shower, and so that was the easiest thing to get to.
So thanks to Liv is to suffer for the thumbs up, heads up. But
But it's the one thumb down that we really appreciate. That's the one we love.
we always have one thumb
There's
down on
one.
every single live show, and I have no idea what
We
it
have
is.
no
But
idea
I
who
don't
it
care.
is or why they do it. We don't really worry about it.
It is still a someone who watched, so it still counts in our number. So
We have no idea who it is.
It's just way too
Maybe
funny.
one day we'll find out.
I would say about 75% of the recent videos has one thumbs down on every video. There's a few that don't, but who knows? I think someone's just loves doing thumbs down instead of thumbs up. Who knows? But anyway, we'll ignore that. But yeah, so I did put a few pictures together, and the blog this week covered a little bit of Lucky's story.
No, it's actually yeah.
Really? Yeah.
It's more an anomaly. We laugh at it every time and come and look for it.
I'm like, when is it going to be a thumbs down? When is it going to be thumbs down? It's usually after the lives. I don't know if someone thumbs down that they missed it or they thumbs down that I have no idea. But it's usually not during the show. It's usually after the show, publishes the replay. But I don't know. It's weird. But any, I keep getting distracted on that. But and hello Noah's Ark.
Got a
So
good group of people in.
yeah, we got 10 people watching already, so that's cool. I did actually, for those of you guys who look at the blog, I posted it to our Facebook groups, but I also posted it to the Small YouTube Homesteaders group. I also posted it to Abundant Permacultures group, which is for um, the I guess members of Abundant Permaculture Facebook group. So, which was kind of fun because I figured I put it there because Justin covered Lucky's. Justin was here when Lucky was 3 weeks old, and Lucky kind of became a celebrity at that point. And
He wasn't on the agenda, and initially, but he sort of
no,
became. Actually, it was Justin who took notice and
yeah,
shot a lot of video on it.
and focused
It
on
was
it.
just sort of incidental that we
We had
had the geese and young,
and that timing of it.
and he had guard geese, but I don't think he had hatched. Had he
He
hatched them
no, and
together?
he didn't this time
Incubated
either.
them, I think,
He this time no, he just he bought chicks and goslings,
and introduced them.
and like this year he introduced them and had them grow up together, but he was surprised that I had taken that idea one step further and actually gotten goose eggs and put them under chickens for chickens to raise with chicks.
Well, we don't own an incubator, so unless we buy the chicks in the mail or from the local store, we don't
We
we
don't
don't have any other option to
we
get
don't
them to hatch.
yeah, we don't have any artificial setup. So we don't have an incubator. We don't have a brooder set up. We use our hens to do that. So, and our house came with the chickens. So we have never actually hatched our own chicks. We've always had the hens hatch
Yeah,
chicks
we
for
haven't
us.
we haven't bought any eggs or had any mail order eggs come
No,
in, so
at all.
we don't mess with any of those
No, we
problems.
did buy eggs.
We bought the 3 eggs
we bought
to
3 goose
hatch.
eggs.
Yeah, I set an arrangement with a local goose and duck farmer who sells eggs and meat.
Yeah.
And asked him for fertilized eggs.
Hi, Carrie.
And he gave me a ridiculously low price. Actually, I think I paid.
We ended up with 4 goose eggs.
We got 4 goose eggs, and he charged me the same price as actually what he charges for a dozen eggs. So, and yeah. I was like, I think it was like $6.
Yeah.
And he's like, "How's $6?" I'm like, "That's great.
That's fine." He would sell them for people to eat at a dozen for $6, but.
And he has two breeds, so he says, "I don't know which one it's going to be. It might even be crossed."
Yeah.
So he says, so he goes, "How about $6?"
Yeah.
And
so
I just told him when we were ready and when we had a
hen go broody.
Yeah, because it took a few weeks, and then he brought him to me the next week.
Yeah. So like some of that backstory, yeah, we were waiting and waiting and waiting for hen to go broody because we wanted one to raise goose. And it was really towards the end of the goose laying season that we had our first hen go broody. And it was one of the full size, it was actually Hootenanny, I believe, who went broody first. And I was a little concerned because I ended up putting all 4 eggs under Hootenanny at the same time. It ended up working out because if you look at the gestation period for geese versus chickens, geese, it takes 28 days for them to hatch. Chickens, it takes 21 days. So I put them all under one full-size hen first. And then over the next week, I had 2 more hens go broody, and they happened to be silkies. So, which I was happy with because I really only needed 2 geese for the 2 flocks. And so 4 was kind of, 2 extra, which we could have, if I had 4 hens go broody, I would have given 1 to each. But then got eggs 59 cents a dozen yesterday at Aldi. Yeah.
So there's, I see a couple other people have been, Carrie's done a couple of other cross hatchings with guinea and
one hen just hatched 1 chick and 2 ducks. So, another hen hatched a keat, which is a guinea, on Monday. Yeah.
It doesn't make them a GMO though. It's just
yeah.
Eggs have really come down. Eggs were quite high seasonally around Easter. They always go up, of course, but because there's a little shortage. In fact, my sales rep for my business, I was going to get some eggs, which I actually didn't need right away. And he goes, "Please don't order eggs." I said, I honestly don't need them. I can wait a couple. He goes, anything, don't buy them. They were up wholesale up around 25 cents, 30 cents a piece. I buy medium eggs for my business because they're cheaper and it gives me more yolk to white. So they're two good reasons. And I think I just bought them a week ago, 2 weeks ago. It was down to 9 cents.
Oh my gosh.
So, well, yeah, a piece wholesale. So I end up
Yeah.
about was it 16
You get a ton
cents?
at once. Yeah.
I buy 150 at a time, which is half a case. So I can get them down I've seen them as low as 4 cents an ounce, assuming an egg is 2 ounces. So 8 cents an egg on a wholesale purchase. And at that point, they're actually commercially, because it's a traded commodity, they're liquidating and they're basically giving them away below cost of of
well,
raising.
yeah. I mean, it's like what we have here. I mean, we can't use our eggs for your business because they're not.
No, we don't. We don't have enough, and we don't have certified eggs.
No.
So I might do a limited run in the spring if I had them certified and graded.
Yeah.
But I could buy them from some graded people.
Yeah.
So I use good quality eggs and a generally local regional egg, but I don't. Yeah. I don't use our eggs.
But that's different. Yeah, that's changing the topic slightly. But yeah, so we don't provide it to the business. We can in Michigan do direct sales of our eggs to other people who will be consuming them, but not to the businesses, without having them graded. But as far as going back to the geese, I was very slightly off on the days where the chicks and the geese were supposed to hatch. So if you haven't seen the story, you got to watch the whole. I do have a Lucky's story, what do you call it, series. I'm blanking on what YouTube calls it, but it's a whole set of the videos on Lucky, anything to do with Lucky from his first hatch date on. So if you guys want to watch that. What do you have to do to certify eggs?
Depends on the state dramatically.
Yes, it does. Here, I don't know the cost of it, but you basically have to get a certification. You have to candle them, grade them. So you have to learn how to grade them, and
you have to wash them also.
You do have to wash them and keep them refrigerated, and then you could sell. So there is a process to it. I don't think it's hard to do that in Michigan, but I don't know how much.
You do it through the state. I want to say it's about $200.
I tried looking it up. I couldn't find the price of it.
Yeah, you get an inspection on a facility, which basically has to have cleanable walls, refrigeration, obviously, plumbing, and meet all their standards. So like a commercial kitchen or a farm. Well, dairy is even more precise. But you have all that. They look at that. You have a certified scale or the egg weights.
You have to, you have to size them.
And you have a proper candling box. Yeah. And if you have all of that and you show your basic cleanliness, they pretty much let you do it. So if you have the space in a clean area of a barn or a basement or whatever, you could, in Michigan, you could very well do it. I don't know if it's worth it unless you're doing a lot of eggs or you have some neighbor. And that's what you need to sell to restaurants. We were buying... I was buying eggs in New York from a local farm. I don't know if... Well, we were buying chicken from them, too. I
think they were probably certified for it.
They probably were certified for it. We just never came up.
I think in New York, you could butcher a number of chickens without having... Like, you have different levels.
Well, I think that according to USDA, but New York represents most...
Playlist. Thank you, Finite World.
Most states recognize the USDA or a little bit more stringent. So I think New York... If you had under 25,000 birds a year, you could operate as a small producer. And so the USDA would or the state, either one that you pick, would come out like once a year. Mm-hmm. They could come and check you, but they generally didn't. You're allowed to operate without oversight and without a USDA inspector on site.
Yeah.
And people go, 25,000. Well, when you think of a poultry shed, a traditional Tyson or whatever style poultry shed is stocked with 25,000 birds.
Yeah.
The goal is to get 23,000 viable birds plus out of that. So a commercial poultry might have 100,000 birds on property at one time. So 25,000 birds isn't that much, but it means you can do traditional egg raising and traditional poultry for
Butcher.
farmers market or small
Yeah.
restaurant boutique work of poultry. And a lot of times I think you can do the ducks and the geese and things under
Yeah,
that.
I think it's all
So
poultry.
it makes it pretty easy in New York, and other states can modify out their will slightly, but a lot of people work within that limit.
Yeah.
Because it's a USDA standard.
So yeah, so as far as certifying things, we haven't really done that because we're not selling our eggs that much. We don't have enough.
We have
no need to. We'll sell extras straight to people. That's fine. That's a lot of poop. Noah's Ark. Yeah.
If you're in a shed, it's kind of a messy, stinky operation.
Yeah.
Doing 5 or 10,000 pastured properly and with some basic controls, because we have this farm that I bought a lot from and interacted with them a lot. They had a couple poultry sheds, and they opened the doors during the day, and they free ranged out.
Like real free range.
And they had minimal, they would clean out the sheds a little bit, but they had minimal smell. It was not. It was actually very nice. They get some dead birds naturally because you had so many, but they didn't have any diseases and crush and stink and weird. They had a very nice operation, and they had cattle and hogs.
And that was in New York, by the way. So that was not in Michigan.
No, it wasn't in Michigan.
That was in.
We have a friend here, actually. We're going to be out in their farm on a. I have a chef function. We're having a little picnic
on Tuesday.
And he does.
I'll bring my video camera.
I have to ask him how many chicken he does, but he's in the thousands, and he
supplies the local hospital.
Yeah, and he does quite a few. He does quite a few hogs and some beef. He's a really good modern, clean operating, not certified organic, but a modern balanced.
And he does pastured poultry
operation, and it's all
kind of Sultan style. He does a lot of Sultan style poultry.
He's got that really nice balance of actually a working farm on a medium scale that sells locally and regionally, makes a living on it, and does it conscientiously.
Yep.
So sells at the farmers market every week, so he does a good job.
Yeah, and in fact, I think one of his sons was really wanting to be an intern on Salatin's property at one point, but I don't think it ended up working out. But I don't even know if he really has many chickens beyond what he sells to the hospital at this point. He has trouble keeping up with the hospital.
He sells eggs at the farmer's market, which is a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
But I do think his hospital contracts, and he's one of 2 or 3 people selling eggs, it's extensive.
But meat too.
Right? I think he sells some chickens, and he sells pork. Well, he sells to a couple local restaurants.
Because he has those meat.
He sells to a farm to table restaurant. So he's busy. He's at capacity for
his production right
now. Either for properly managing his land or properly managing his time and his family and their staff. Which he doesn't have a lot of staff. They're busy.
It's mainly him and 2 sons running the place and some staff.
I think they have limited help on top of that. It's still a family operation. They're in their 3rd or 4th generation. So
which is cool. So I will bring a video camera to that.
Yeah, I think he's pretty generally pretty open to. I mean, people always say, "What do you do? Are you not organic?" He goes, "Look, if you have any concerns, come out to my farm.
Yeah.
Look around, smell, look. I'll show you stuff.
Yeah.
You'll see that the animals are happy. I don't think you'll have any concerns after that."
Exactly.
And he's told people, he goes, "I'm not going to explain what we do and what we don't do or argue them. It's just
come see.
You drive out, you come see.
You make your choice.
We'll talk about it after that."
Yeah.
So
I'll try to I'll see if he's willing to let me record some, because last year they did this and they gave a little tour of the farm to the people who are there for this dinner. It's actually related to the chef club that you're.
It's related to my professional chef clubs and people that I interact with.
So it's a lot of chefs there. So a lot of them want the tour of the farm and are interested in it. So last year they did give a tour of the farm, which I went with them. So it was definitely interesting to see that.
And his pork and things taste good.
Yeah.
I mean, they're heritage and they're not crazy specialized. He does a lot of his own blending to keep the conformation and qualities he wants, which is traditional.
That's what
we're part of the country in a part of Michigan, which hog farming on small to very large level is a large part of the economy.
Yeah, it is.
But his pork tastes good and it's not overly priced. It's a really nice product. So yeah.
Well, we got a little off topic because that'll be something to come, assuming he gives permission.
And we were on a little side tour of a super intricate permaculture
Oh, that's what
property
I'm getting
that's
my class.
yeah, where you're doing the class. I was out there for a guided tour with a group of 20 people, and so we're talking extreme urban permaculture.
Oh, hi, Four Horns Farm. That's Annette there. Okay.
Oh yeah,
Welcome.
there in last week.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's third time here, right? No, because last week we didn't realize it wasn't your first time.
Yeah, a couple times. Yeah,
yeah,
times, yeah.
yeah. But so anyway, I'm going to go back to my pictures. If you guys follow on our webpage or Facebook page, all our webpage stuff I always post onto the Facebook page. If you're ever interested, any videos go there too. So it's kind of a way to capture the blog stuff, the Instagram stuff, and the YouTube stuff all there in one place. Is on our Facebook page and Facebook group as well. So if you want to follow along with everything we're doing on all the different platforms, that's the easy way to do it. But I'm going to go back to Mr. Lucky, whose birthday it is today. And going back to that story, I have some pictures here. But yeah, he was actually lucky to have made it because he hatched 2 days after his sibling chicks hatched under the Silky Hen, and Silky Mom had just gotten up to go show the chicks where the forage was, because they'll only sit on the nest for a couple days after they start hatching because the chicks will need food. So he had just hatched. I thought that egg was done because the hen was out in the run with her chicks. So I opened it up, and there was a little shivering little gosling who was in there cold, not able to stand, must have just hatched. Try to put it under mom, and mom was still too busy showing the other chicks where the food was, so I basically had to intervene and raise Lucky a little bit by hand the first couple days, keep him warm, get him food.
If you were humane, you would have been free ranging it right off the bat. It should have been out in the grass.
It actually was out in the grass, except it couldn't stand. But that is someone who had a
that was a discussion that I was hearing a retail. Actually, it has to do with that farm
that we're going to.
A patron says, "Well, I don't see your chicks. I saw them all in a shelter. I don't see them out free ranging. That's inhumane." It's like, would you put your toddler out to go play on the side of the road? You don't. You need to shelter and take care of them when you're young.
Yeah.
And then as they get a little older, we'll get them out where they're not going to get pecked off. They're not going to dehydrate and die. It's like we need to think about logically how we free range.
And you can't do my system with thousands of chicks. So, because I have these little nursery brooders, or basically coops that are tractor coops. So the mom has a little coop end in it. They're in there right now in this picture. That is Lucky being reintroduced back with mom. Mom took Lucky back without a problem. So we got very lucky that he survived all of that. And then, of course, by the time the Rhodes got here, he was growing so fast. He was only 3 weeks old by the time the Rhodes got here. And he was about the size, this is probably 2 weeks. He was about the size of the Silky Mom, or very close to it. And you can always check out their video as well. It's in our playlist. I did add it to our playlist. So he grew very quickly. The geese we keep comparing them to St. Bernards because we've had a St. Bernard, and our St. Bernard grew 5 pounds a week.
At least 5 pounds a week for I think at least a
6
year.
months.
Yeah, at least
no, for 6 months we had
6 months or so.
Yeah.
We didn't know if we were feeding either the goose or the St. Bernard
the right amount.
If we were even feeding enough food, I guess, with the water to get 5 pounds and still metabolize.
Yes.
How he was.
I was worried about him getting enough food and enough protein. I would give him like scrambled eggs and stuff to help add the protein. But he did well. This is him last winter. He loved the snow. Another thing that he has in common with St. Bernards is that he loved going out in the snow. Did not mind ice water for his pool and everything.
No problem with the ice water.
Yeah. Hi, Yankee living. But then, yeah, this is actually closer to now. So he's full grown now. Now, I will mention Gus is also a year old because he hatched just a couple days after Lucky. So this was Gus with his Silky Mom. And of course Gus is full grown now and eating from my hand. So Gus is actually less shy of me now than Lucky is, although he's still shy and he hisses at Mike all the time. Um, for some reason, I'm the only one who's any uh,
And I don't do anything to him.
friendly. No, you don't.
I either leave him alone or I'm feeding him or filling his water. I don't do anything to him, but
yes,
I don't feed him as often as Cindy does.
No, I'm out there and I tried to spend a little bit of time with Gus because right now his 3 silky hens, one is raising chicks and 2 others just went broody a couple weeks ago, so they are sitting on eggs. So the only company he has is a silky rooster who
he doesn't like very much.
He just doesn't even pay attention.
And he was the rooster was added in just a few months ago.
Yeah, a couple months ago, a zebra. So yeah, hence the name Lucky for Lucky. Yeah, he was very lucky to have survived that. So he did get his name from that. And I wasn't sure that whether these guys were actually female or male until this spring because I thought they were male because we had 3 hatch. One we called Christmas because it was being raised by Houdini, who does not let me handle anybody. The Silkies will let me handle their chicks a little bit. They're friendlier. But Houdini and the other regular chickens, when they go broody, they will bite my hand off. So I knew I wasn't going to be able to handle Christmas. So I figured she was going to be Christmas dinner. It ended up being Thanksgiving dinner.
But because we ended up needing to do a demo video that would be sent out closer to Christmas, so we had to shut it over Thanksgiving because we had people in and go to the go to the trouble to do all the work. You got to have people over.
Yes. So yeah, you can always when the holidays come back around, we have a whole series on making our holiday meal.
It could be a Thanksgiving or a Christmas base. Yeah. So we roasted have poultry
playlist on. We had a turkey and a goose. So our extra goose did end up being a Thanksgiving dinner, which we had planned that way. But I think that one was probably female because it was just very slightly smaller than the 2 others. So I kind of assumed these 2 others were male, but confirmed that this spring because they didn't lay eggs. So so that was the only way really to know. In fact, I was talking to Justin Rhodes about that, and he had said that he didn't know that his original goose got Donald Trump. He didn't know that he was a boy until that first spring when he didn't lay eggs. Then he confirmed him. I don't know when he named him. I kind of missed the beginning of Donald Trump's Donald the Goose. His being introduced into everything. But of course he's got 2 geese now in 2 different flocks that he has again. So getting started on homesteading. Hello. So if you want to check out Lucky's story, please feel free to go check out that playlist that was listed in the comments above by Finite World. Thank you, Finite World.
Looks like we're running 12 to 15 second delay tonight. We're running a fairly long delay.
Yeah. But that's all right. We'll keep going. And we'll respond as we see comments, but just keep in mind that it'll probably take a few seconds for us to see them because there's a delay on this. But okay. The other thing I wanted to just kind of remind everybody, and I should ask, I'm going to go back to asking, oh, thank you, Finite World. You got the holiday cooking up there. I'm going to go back and ask, how many of you guys are in this upper Midwest Great Lakes region? What states are you guys in? I think I know a number of you guys.
An awful lot.
Yep. Yeah. Are in Michigan yourselves, but my next little announcement reminder thing is going to be a local Michigan thing. Of course, everybody's welcome to come to it. Jerry's from Houston. Wow. Cool.
I have some friends in Houston.
Yeah. So that will be a little bit of a distance, but if you guys, I just want to see what states we're all in, because one thing that's
Michigan, travel to Michigan for summer activities in July and early August is actually the premium time.
If you want a good vacation
and not crazy hot, it's phenomenal.
Kentucky. We have Southeast Michigan, of course, Noah's Ark. I knew that.
Florida,
Fun to
yep.
watch.
We
Yes.
talked about Florida. Well, if it gets too hot in all those places, come hang out in Michigan. There's lots of lakes, and it's generally pretty nice.
Especially if you come up at the end of July, July 28th, you come up the 27th, 28th, 29th, that weekend, there is an event being held up here by the Pratt Family Homestead, and we'll be there, and a whole lot of other YouTube channels are going to be there, but it is open to YouTube channels, Instagram people. It's open to all our fans, so it's anybody with any interest in the homesteading
It's open to
community.
anybody who'd like to come that plans on behaving themselves for the day.
Yes, it is being held at a campground that is a Methodist campground, and they do have some rules about no drinking and things like that. And
generally behaving.
Yeah, they do have a lake, but they say no bikinis, so that kind of
some simple stuff. But
yeah.
Yep. So it's an all day event. It's free for the day.
Yes.
There's camping available at a fairly limited charge. We can get details on that. We're going to spend the night. I think there's quite a few other people.
Yes.
So it's inexpensive. It's a potluck. Please bring something. You don't have to though.
If you're coming from a big distance,
and it's just going to be a get together.
There will be plenty of food, I'm sure. Potlucks usually have more food than people will eat, but it will be kind of like an all afternoon get together as well. I believe it's
I lived in Grand Rapids in the winter of 07. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
A little different than Arkansas.
Yes.
I lived in Memphis for 3 years, so right across, I could see Arkansas from my building.
Yeah, you were right downtown.
Yep. See West Memphis.
Yep. So yeah, so those of you guys interested, I did post the web page that the Pratt Family Homestead, actually PrattFamilyHomestead.com is their own webpage, but they have the Hootenanny information there. They have Hootenanny T-shirts, which that picture was the back side of the T-shirt. Mike is wearing this year's T-shirt, so if you sit up a little straighter, it has a little logo on the front, and then a big logo on the back. I'm wearing last year's T-shirt. Move over, because last year was the first year we had the Hootenanny. In fact, the whole idea of the Hootenanny came from the Pratts originally, but it was when watching the Rhodes Great American Farm Tour, and the Rhodes were having all these get-together, they weren't able to make the Michigan one, which was actually at our place.
They had something going on.
They had, I think, some baseball things going on or something with the kids. So
we knew of them a little bit at that point. Right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, because I had asked them.
And 1870 Homestead was here.
Yes, they were here at the Rhodes came.
I think if she's still there, or one of the two are still in the room. I think they're attending the Hootenanny.
I believe so.
I think they are. Pretty sure.
And actually, should ask Noah's Ark, are you going to the Hootenanny this year? Because you're in Michigan too.
Mm-hmm. The other thing is, you were set up to be in charge of the seed selection swap. I haven't heard much about that.
Seed exchange.
Seed exchange.
There will be a number of things. One, I'll come back to that in 1 second. If you go to the webpage on the Pratt Family Homestead, down in the link in the description below, they are selling those T-shirts even if you can't make it.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, so you can order those T-shirts if you want.
So you can be an imposter.
That's not nice. We welcome everybody to be a part of watching our channels. And we definitely promote each other all the time. But yes, I am in charge of a seed exchange that's going to be going on with this as well. So what we're really going to do is basically anybody who has some seeds, just to put them in a labeled bag or container, or if they have the packets or whatever, bringing them to the Hootenanny, and we're going to do exchange there. But we did open that up to anybody who wants to be a part of the seed exchange. Just the idea of, if you want to send us seeds by mail with a self-addressed stamped envelope included in that to send some back to you.
You'll get something back. Who knows what it's going to be? It might be thistle seeds.
Yeah, okay, nice one.
Poison ivy seeds. Well, we won't have berries in time to collect seeds on those.
I don't know of anyone who collects poison ivy seeds.
That's right.
Although you might give me the job of pulling it.
You might get some really cool stuff.
Yes.
We were given some really cool stuff, but I don't think any of it will be seeded yet.
We do have, we're probably going to bring for ourselves,
Well, we're gonna bring some of the beans, right? The Hank's.
Yes, the Hank's baked beans.
Hank's baking beans, which is a Ark of Taste, slow food Ark of Taste specialty item from the New York Ark of Taste.
Yes.
And we've continued to grow them here, and they're pretty good.
We grew them last year. We have a whole lot of them.
Nice white, super creamy bean that is excellent for making stewed baked beans.
So we're gonna bring those as our exchange bean seeds. Might find some others to bring as well because we have a lot of seeds around here. But yeah, if you want to be involved in that seed exchange but can't go to Hootenanny, definitely you can send us that. I'm not gonna post my address everywhere, although it's been posted on before for the roads. You guys, if you just send me a message through Facebook or YouTube saying you'd like to send seeds for the exchange, feel free and I will give you the address to send it to. We don't have a P.O. box at this point, so it'll come to our place. What we'll do is I'll hold that and bring it to the Hootenanny for the exchange and let people exchange seeds. If you have anything in particular you're looking for, I'll keep my eyes open for it, but obviously can't guarantee what people will bring. But we would send seeds back as long as you include like a self-addressed stamped envelope. I would suggest maybe having an extra stamp on there just so
I don't know what snips seeds are.
How about snip seeds?
Sounds like
I don't know. What are snip seeds? Anyway, yeah, so we'll have to see. Wait for that answer. Yeah, Noah's Ark was going to go last year, but had to go. Oh, okay.
I heard a little tidbit on seeds. So if you harvest pawpaw seeds, in our area we have a lot of pawpaws, and we've talked about that.
They go pretty far south too, though.
Yeah, if you harvest the pawpaw seeds and you're looking to propagate them, you need to chill them either naturally through the winter
and keep them moist.
And you need to keep them moist. But I was told that if they lose their moisture for as little as 2 hours, you can lose up to 90% viability.
Yeah. So we'll have to see how ours
do. So you have to have.
I still haven't planted ours.
Yeah. So you got to have. So you have to basically go right from the fruit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
To moist soil, or you could quickly lose any chance of getting them to grow.
We learned that from Mike Hogue, the permaculture, Lily House permaculture guy who's teaching the class. He said they just store it in the pawpaw. It's in the pith of the pawpaw.
Well, that would be an ideal thing to do.
If you don't want to eat it.
Store it in a pawpaw.
Yeah. You know. In the fridge or in the pith of the pawpaw and keep it in that moist, in a bag in the fridge. And then they start their plants that way. I put ours in peat moss, which I had read online to do. And basically kept them moist that way. So they're still in our fridge in peat moss in the plastic baggie. I have to see if we could get them to germinate. Another thing that I got a little tip from a local nursery who sells pawpaw plants was that they basically nick the seeds a little bit before they plant them, and they found they had a better germination rate if they nicked them a little bit. Don't know what that.
Well, you break that out, or that
help them break through. I guess.
Surprise me at all on that one because it has a thick.
Yeah. So what are snip seeds? You're looking it up, aren't you?
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, it's funny because there's a video on nicking seeds that came up automatically
when I was talking about the.
No, but it had to do with. Scanning for something else. So.
Yeah. Anyway, so
it wasn't an Alexa thing, believe me.
I don't think they. Well, I haven't seen them suggest freezing them, although they definitely need.
But they'll freeze in this area.
Yeah, so if they're out in nature,
they have to be frost.
They need a cold. They need a cold. In order to germinate, they need a cold season. Definitely. Have to go snip hunting. I still don't know what snip is. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know what that is. I did gather seeds last.
We know what maters are.
They
grow in this area.
Yeah, maters.
We've heard multiple people call tomatoes maters around here.
Oh, absolutely.
We laughed about it years ago. We were out in country area. Driving
back roads.
Yeah, we were on the edge of Cassopolis.
Yeah.
in a really kind of a country area at a farm stand, and he had lots of maters.
It's
But
taters and maters.
But we've heard lots of maters,
taters and
in
maters,
this
of
area.
course. Yes. Anyways, Noah's Ark says snipe. I don't know. I'm gonna have to post. I don't know. You're gonna have to tell me what that is. But so yeah. So any of you guys? Oh, there are a lot of other channels coming to the Hootenanny. So there's Pratt Family Homestead, us. I believe that 1870s Homestead, if they're still in the room, but I think they may have left. They're coming. There's last year's Sutton's Days was there, and Snipe. SNIPE. So there were a whole bunch, and then a couple from Ohio and Indiana. And this year, Holler Homestead is coming. They're traveling across the country. If you guys don't follow them, they're traveling across the country. They're, I think, just sold their house in California, and they're planning on being in Michigan. They're going to every state like the Roads did. I think they're planning on being in Michigan for the Hootenanny.
So Jack Snipe is coming up as Narcissus, which, if that's what you're referring to, people would definitely appreciate them. They grow very well in our area.
Yeah,
for sure. In fact, they pretty much self-propagate.
Okay. Yeah, two family. And the cases came last year. I'm sure two families coming this year. What are you laughing at?
I'm just reading. It's a bird.
Send their cousins to go sniff hunting. Okay, it's a bird. Anyway, yeah, I'm like, yeah, we're the city folk. But so that's coming up July 28th. Save the date if you have any chance to do that. The other thing I was going to bring up, any questions on Hootenanny before I move on to the next thing? And as we're getting distracted looking up things on the cell phone, the other thing I was thinking about was for Herb of the Week, I'm going to adjust it a little bit because we have so many foraged foods in general that Herb of the Week doesn't really cover things all the time. And he's looking it up on his cell phone. It says, what are you reading?
A type of practical joke, of course. Yes. Unfamiliar with that as early as the 1840s.
Okay, cool.
To catch a non-existent animal called a snipe. Yes.
Lovely.
Yep, no wonder.
It's a bird, or is it a four-legged animal, or is it,
So if you can find some seeds, you can send them along. We'll put them in the packet and just label them.
Yep.
Just label them up.
You can label some
see what grows.
But yeah, no. So what I was thinking about doing, yeah, we got it, but I know we're delayed, so I'm seeing that.
It's not a joke that I'm aware of being common in this area.
No, and no, I grew up in the woods, but just I was still probably more city than what country anyway. So anyway, but so yeah, back to the Herb of the Week thing. I'm thinking about changing it to like a Foraged Food Friday. That's a little hard to say, or Friday's Foraged Food or something like that for the blog. We'll still do our live show on Sundays, but that way it'll give me the goal to get the blog up on Friday with a foraged item each week, so that we'll still talk about that a little bit. And if there's questions on it on Sunday, you guys can ask questions on it. But that way it'll cover more things. We can throw some mushrooms in there, and we can throw some other items in there that you wouldn't necessarily call herbs. So yes, there's definitely a delay because they're just seeing you.
Yeah, we're 12, 15 second delay tonight.
At least.
I was counting between frame changes.
Okay.
And earlier, and that's it's usually like 6 or 7 seconds.
Yeah, it's a little delayed.
Yeah, it's a little slow today.
Okay. But yeah, he took some time trying to figure that one out. But if we're going with Herb of the Week, I did kind of get some pictures of something that's popping up all over the place right now, and we have some behind us in a vase as well. But
poison ivy?
No, unless you really want me to bring that in the
It's
house.
popping up all over too.
That is popping up all over. By the way, this is definitely not poison ivy. You guys should know what this one is. I would assume somebody's gonna put the name of this one up here, but again, the frames just shifted on the live stream, so I know we're a little bit behind. But poison ivy, you guys know who he makes pull all the poison ivy from the garden and from everywhere it grows. I have to pull it.
Well, you don't get dinner if I pull it. You won't get dinner for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, if he pulls it, all he has to do is think about it and he gets poison ivy. I have never so far reacted to poison ivy, so I definitely protect myself against it, but I know I pulled it up with my bare hands and by accident and have not yet reacted to it, so trying to avoid it, but that means I get to pull it all. Yes, it's a daisy, by the way. So thanks, getting started on homesteading. So daisies, by the way, are not just a nice. If you scooch over a little, you can see it behind us. Not just a nice cut flower. It is good cut flower. Okay, come on back. It's you can use the flowers as a garnish. Now the flowers are really mild tasting. You can eat them. They're extremely mild. I would try to make sure there's no bugs in the yellow part, because of course the pollinators could be in there, the little ones. So a lot of people will wash them and put them on a salad or something like that. But the leaves, the basal leaves, at the base of the plant, that rosette that forms, a lot of people use those in salads or on sandwiches. Now they're a little stronger than salad greens. I've only tasted them once, and I'm trying to remember.
Got sumac blisters right now, yeah.
Oh, really? There's not a lot of sumac around here, but there's definitely some. We don't have it on our property, at least. We don't have poison sumac on our property.
It's limited, yeah. We've got plenty of sumac.
They like the wetter areas.
Red sumac.
We get smooth red sumac, and there's also the staghorn sumac, the fuzzy one. We don't have the staghorn on our property, but we get those are edible too.
The staghorn's just around the corner, though.
Yeah, it's all over the place. We get the smooth sumac, the red sumac, but visitor farm that was convinced. Wait.
Touch the fence and it wouldn't hurt.
Oh no. But anyway, yes. As a kid. Yeah.
I grabbed the fence a few weeks ago. Okay. And I forgot what I was doing. So it's just a poultry fence, so it's not nearly as strong as a cattle fence. But whatever it was, I grabbed both sides and got a shock right through. And it was good enough jolt.
Yeah.
I forget what it was. Something that made sense that I needed to grab over or through it or something.
I hardly ever grab with two hands, and I'm usually wearing rubber boots. So technically, if I accidentally grab that fence, I actually just barely get shocked. Because I usually grab one hand as if to push it down so I can step over it, and then I'm like, ooh, that's a little tingly, but not a big deal, because the rubber boots help keep it from making it through the body to the ground. But anyway, I'll go back to daisies. Daisies, most people eat the leaves, the basal leaves in the bottom, but you can eat them off the stem too. The ones on the bottom, I guess, they're a little strong. So a lot of people don't use it like as the only green in a salad, but they might mix it in to the green in a salad. They can be a little peppery and stuff. But you could definitely eat it. You can use it on sandwiches. People have used it in tacos and quesadillas and things like that, or cook with it, or some people just use it to flavor things.
Poke, we got tons of poke.
We'll have to do one on poke at some point, and that's we are definitely not. We call it poke weed instead of poke salad up here, but we are not too far north. It's in our garden.
Yeah,
it
keeps the ones grow. A couple of huge roots of it.
We have big ones in our forest edge as well. They're
just beyond the mature or the point of edible.
No, actually, the ones on the edge of the forest are almost full grown now.
Yeah.
The ones in our garden, because we keep pulling them, keep sending up new shoots. So they're little. And we've pulled some out and gotten all the root, but not all of them yet. We can do a talk on poke as well. It is
poke's my favorite meat.
It is, and it's actually POKE up here. But
I love roasted poke and maters.
and maters. And what about taters?
Taters grow around here too. We got commercial tater farms, mater farms, and tons of poke.
Pokeweed, yeah, going in the backyard, keep pulling it.
You have
to get the root.
root is crazy on it. So we knew they were hard to pull up, and we were turning the garden.
Yeah.
And we forked some, and they came up like parsnips.
They're like huge.
We're like, no wonder you can't get them out when the soil's hard.
And they're like windy.
Monster.
They're not straight. They're kind of crooked.
We pulled out 4 or 5 out of the garden. I threw them over the fence into the brush.
Yeah.
I don't care if they grow out there. Just not in the middle of the garden.
Yeah. Well, and definitely some people eat it, but you can only eat it when it's very small and just the new growth leaves on it, because otherwise it becomes poisonous.
Sometime we've got to talk about sea kale. We learned, we showed you sea kale a few weeks ago, and we have some started in our little...
it's kind of cool.
Yeah, but we learned a lot of, that you can use it in a lot of different ways and times, and so we'll have to go through that.
Yeah, and that's not necessarily a wild one, but it is a good...
it's wild in Western Europe and cool parts of Western Europe.
Cool parts of Western Europe. It grows on the beach. It grows on the beach.
Beach and cliffs and
along
Ireland,
northern France, Scotland.
Yeah. Cool areas along the sandy beaches.
But it's a good permaculture plant. So we do need to do a permaculture tour. That'll be the next little tour. So we could do a little permaculture
garden update.
I have a garden update coming, but the permaculture one, and we could do the
garden
food
just
forest.
Tripled in size in the last 4 days, though.
Yes, that's coming probably Tuesday.
It's growing out of control with this constant rain.
I'll say Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, but if I could get it done tomorrow night, I'll publish it on Tuesday. If not, I'll finish it Tuesday night. You got to go back and finish
the shirk stuff.
I know.
Where it gets middle of summer and you got a pre-growth till
I do
video.
I know, right? But and then, maybe I could work on the shark stuff with the food forest update, because a lot of the stuff we got from Shark Farms went into the food forest. So that's also where that sea kale went. But the sea kale is actually a very interesting plant. So we'll definitely have to cover it.
Poke is toxic, poisonous if you get a very large one. So while you're making your poke patch, don't let it go too long. After the cool times, you're done with it. Just let it grow.
Yeah. Yeah, we have poke growing all along the edge of the woods here. So going back to that, I could do that one as a debatable edible, because some people will not eat that one and some people will eat it, but only, of course, when it's very small. And then you do have to be careful. You have to blanch it and stuff on that one too. But I can go
we also have you have a Daryl Patton update.
Yes.
He's in Michigan. He does pretty much a yearly event in Saugatuck, Michigan. He loves coming to Michigan. I had the date. It posted. It's a 2-day class. It's I think about $150. So
it's the 17th. It's next weekend.
Yeah, it's coming up really quick. There's a few spots left.
16th and 17th.
If you let us know, we can get you the person to talk to.
Yes. So and after the show, I might be able to.
But even though he's a southern forager, he spends a lot of time around different areas. He loves Michigan.
Yeah, he comes up here every year.
How much he likes coming up here. And I think there's a specific group in Saugatuck that hosts him frequently.
Noah's Ark. It is poisonous if it's big. It's not necessarily if it's small and if you blanch it, as far as the pokeweed goes. But yeah, Daryl Patton. The reason why that came up is because Daryl Patton talked about poke salad.
He was a big fan of poke salad.
Absolutely. At
southern.
Yes, at the Homesteaders of America conference, which we were able to. We got permission to post that whole foraging that he did, which was
45-minute quick.
No, it wasn't even that long. It was like 20 to 30 minutes. But the foraging, we got permission from them to post the whole foraging as part of the video, because everything else we're only allowed to do little snippets for the toxin stuff. So that I believe is in that video. I'm not 100% sure. Either that or he talked about it during his talk. But Daryl Patton is what did they call him? The Southern Herbalist or something like that. Yep. He is going to be in Saugatuck, Michigan next weekend. If you guys are interested, definitely let us know and we'll get you the information. we can't go to it. We have market on Saturday, and we've seen him before. And he's going to be back at Homesteaders of America conference in the fall, so we'll see him there again. But it would be kind of interesting to catch him in Saugatuck at one point because it'd be nice to get his view on the Michigan plants. There are some that are all over the country, but it'd be nice to get his view on what's here in Michigan too.
Yeah, he's the guy who eats poison ivy.
He is. He is. Little bits of it.
He's pretty interesting. He was a teacher.
Yeah. He knows a lot of biochemistry,
and he's done a lot of heavy duty studying, and I think he's got a semi-photographic memory. Yeah. He definitely does for plants. He's pretty in depth. He's written a lot of books, so he's one of the top people in the country.
Yeah, Jerry, that was one of the main uses of poke is the berries for dyeing things, but you can't eat them. They are poisonous. The berries are definitely poisonous. Yeah, so yeah, we can do that one as a debatable edible at some point. I'll put that on the list to do because it is growing around here, and I do have a picture of it small. I'll get a picture of it big.
And cats are debatable edible. They're not worth the time.
They are not edible.
There's not enough meat and all that fur.
Okay. The cat just wanted to crawl across us, apparently, not settle down. But anyway, so yeah, we'll do that one as a debatable edible. We did a debatable edible on what did we do that on last time?
The bracken fern.
Oh yeah, the bracken fern. I was like, wait a minute, I blinked on that a week or two ago. So you could take a look at that one. You can do.
Well, it's like skunk cabbage. Yeah. You know, really early in the season, if you blanch it 3 times. And you're starving, you can eat it, but I'm not. People do eat it. I just don't know why you would. There's so many other things to get at a lot faster that aren't going to potentially be bad for you.
Yeah. And then and Nabi eats pokeweed as well. Yeah. So she likes poke. And then there's also for different reasons whether or not to eat Queen Anne's lace if you can positively identify it, it is edible.
Well, sassafras is another one.
Sassafras is another one. So we can have these
tonka bean, which doesn't grow here, but you can get in Europe.
Yeah, so I mean, we could do probably once a month. We'll do a debatable edible one.
Chinese restaurant. Yeah, I can pull off a little Asian, but never did. Yeah, we stay away from mystery meats. Yeah, we like to work with things we know what they are.
Although we will try things that we know that they are that most people wouldn't try. I mean, you've had chicken feet. We've had
chicken feet, pig
calf
feet.
brain. We've had fish head soup. I mean, we do eat.
I had a special edible food, breed of horse. Tried horse, which is a delicacy in Africa and France and southern Italy. Yeah, a lot of southern parts of Italy, Spain.
Yeah.
We try a lot of things, but cats and dogs are not on the menu.
And
squirrels, possums, raccoons really haven't delved into any of the roadkill stuff.
Poison ivy is an oil plant, so it would make it fuel oil. Except I wouldn't want to breathe the smoke from that fuel or the exhaust from that fuel. That might be a problem. Yeah, don't let Grizz see the cat. Grizz likes the threaten cat. But, he jokes about it. Anyway, I'm thinking I'm running out of things, and it's 10 o'clock. I think that was basically all.
Did you talk about the strawberries?
No, I didn't. I did last week a little bit, didn't I?
We are pulling about a quart of strawberries yesterday. Now, we missed for about a day and a half.
Yeah.
But we're sort of at peak, and unfortunately, it's raining like crazy. We have a lot of commercial strawberries in our area. Michigan strawberries don't travel very far because they're a smaller berry. They're very sweet. They're wonderful for jams, and they tend not to ship well, partly because they pick them way too ripe.
Yeah.
So
for shipping,
but they're excellent for pies and jams.
Yeah.
We have the wild ones, but we actually bought before we knew they were going to explode with the wild ones. Really close local farm, which does have nice strawberries, and they don't spray too much. But with all this rain, and humidity, they are going to be mold spraying and trying to pick them and get them out of the
The
field
crazy thing
green
is,
and save them right now.
I think last week we mentioned the strawberries because we had transplanted a bunch of wild strawberries about a year ago, and Finite World was able to find and pull that video from transplanting them a year ago after they had finished bearing fruit in the wild, and we put them in a raised bed, and they're taking off. They're doing really well. The plants are really nice, big and bushy. And last week we were talking about them because there are a lot of little green strawberries on them. And the next day I went out there and there were some ripe
We're getting ones from there about a 1/4 inch up to about 3/4 inch size berry.
So
so pretty good size for a wild strawberry.
Yeah, most of the wild strawberries in the wild are like tiny.
They look like in Italy, a lot of times they have the Italian wild strawberries that I think are semi-cultivated.
Yeah.
And they're right in the medium size of what we're getting, just like your little finger.
Our biggest ones are like about that long.
Yeah.
So, but they are so, like, the flavor is so strong in them. It's like it's all concentrated.
They're more tart, which is good because strawberries are not tart enough for cooking a lot of times.
Yeah.
I add lemon juice, so.
Yeah.
Leave the cat alone.
Yeah. Ever heard of rock melons? Only found them in Grand Rapids. I thought it was a cantaloupe. I've never heard the term rock melon.
Well, there's, I know two things about melons. One, they cross pretty easily, so you get all kinds of craziness. Melons people savor them and hold the seeds, but they also take on a lot of different names. I was just talking to a group of professional farmers. I was the least professional in that group. I think it was at a seminar. And I said something about hand melons, which is a big deal in upstate New York. And it's similar to a French, almost like a Cavillon melon. It's a small, it will fit in your hand.
Honey rocks.
Honey rocks, yeah, I think I've heard of them. And so there's this whole class of like French imported small melons that are super sweet cantaloupes. And you only get a short season. Mm-hmm. So we would buy them as long as they were available. And they're called hand melons. I brought that up here. And I had about 15 people that are all growing at some capacity. Said, what is that? and so I think the honey rocks are something actually very similar.
Similar to that.
Bigger than cantaloupes.
Huh.
Okay. Well, these are smaller than your modern cantaloupe.
Yeah, we have a few melons growing.
We have good melons around here, and generally, when they are finally ready, end of July into August and later
into September.
Yeah, generally we get very good melon growth.
Yeah, we direct seeded our melons, so if we had started them in soil blocks ahead of time, we probably would get them.
We seeded a ton,
but we did seed a lot.
We're gonna have to thin them if they're doing okay.
Yeah, last year we got a few. We didn't get a heck of a lot.
Yeah, grocery store melons are shipped hard and are not anywhere close to what a great melon should be almost all the time.
So we're gonna see about how many melons we can get. We have cantaloupe, so we have something called a banana melon. We have a canary melon. We have watermelons. We have
medium. We have a watermelon that's like an oval football, like that size this year. We did the little ones last year.
Yeah.
Get a few of those. Our space is pretty good, but put the big ones in they go nuts. Crazy. We would have to really set off even more space. So, we don't eat them fast enough. We tend to lose a bunch of them because we can't eat them fast enough.
Well, we go to the chickens. They're happy.
Yeah. Now with the chickens, it's fine. Excess produce isn't a big deal. We feed the chickens and that's good. So.
Yeah, and we should actually tomorrow go out and check the beans because we have some some peas. The shelling peas are
yesterday.
They're getting there. So we got with all this
rain.
We
have an heirloom Italian shelling pea, also.
Yes, but those are not ready yet.
No,
those we just put in. These are Johnny seed shelling peas. I forget what type, but we also put in 2 types of M.I. Gardner peas. M.I. Gardner's going to be at Homesteaders of America as well. I don't know if he's going to come to Hootenanny, though. It would be really fun if he came to Hootenanny.
Yeah.
And joined in the seed exchange, of course. No.
Well, that would make sense, wouldn't it?
I wouldn't be surprised if someone brings some M.I. Gardner seeds there.
You want to dehydrate some of the melons? Is that...
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how well they dehydrate. I mean, they're very fleshy. I haven't seen a lot of dehydrated melons.
I would think you could sugar them and like make them into
I
candies
think
almost.
if you picked them not too ripe.
Yeah.
I don't know how that would work.
Yeah.
You can puree them and freeze the puree. The chunks don't freeze very well, but the flavor for making like sorbets or blending with cream and making ice cream, that works.
That's good. Have you Jerry Arnold? Have you dehydrated them
I
before?
just never have seen her.
I haven't done it.
Be interesting to know.
You've made, what was it? You made pickled watermelon rind.
Yeah.
Before.
That's pretty common.
As well. Yes, Emma Gardner's opening a store in Port Huron, and grand opening is June 23rd. That's cool. So June 23rd is actually my dad's birthday. So, and we have double market that day. That's in 2 weeks. So that's a double market day. So we won't be doing anything on June 23rd, unfortunately. But and Port Huron's across the state from us. But that would be fun. You guys should go. On anybody on the east side of Michigan or close enough.
Toledo
or anywhere over there.
Canada.
True. Do we have
anybody
any Canadians?
from Canada? Although I think you can. I think you can transport the seeds.
Seeds,
maybe. I don't know on that one.
You probably could, whether it's legal to or not. Yeah. I'm not sure. But you could probably get them across the border without too much issue. I actually, when Justin was talking about crossing over the border from Washington up to see Curtis Stone, I think he's outside Vancouver or something, and he had that basil plant in the bus. I'm like, I hope you find a temporary home for your basil plant, because you're not supposed to bring live plants across country borders. So I was a little worried about that. Yeah, I was wondering if watermelon makes a fruit leather.
Okay, I could see that. Yeah. Because it would really highly reduce down since it's so watery. Gonna have lots of fun in. Yeah, I would be interested if it's. I'm sure it can be done. The question, if it tastes good, let us know if it works and tastes good. It would. We don't have a big dehydrator, but
we have a little one.
A little
if
guy.
we want to try it. We'll have to figure out. I'm sure if you email M.I. Gardner or go on his webpage, it probably has it there. But that would be a lot of fun to go to. I'm not going to say what we're doing details for my dad's birthday because he might be watching.
We're having a picnic here.
We are having a picnic here, and we are going to go to the air zoo with him and the grandkids.
The young
nieces, so the Kalamazoo has a very nice. I haven't been there, but a very nice air zoo with a lot of old planes in the museum.
Well known. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're probably going to do that and have the family here. So that'll be fun. And do a little picnic or barbecue type thing. But otherwise, any other question? We're actually after 9 o'clock already, so we're kind of past.
After 10 o'clock.
Sorry. I read 10:09 and I said 9 o'clock, the last thing in my head. But yeah, after 10 o'clock already, so we should wrap up here. But if you guys are interested in Hootenanny or interested in the seed exchange on Hootenanny, just let me know. And I can get you the address if you're not going to be at Hootenanny yourselves, and we could do that. And
I'm sure there'll be lots of live feeds and other things going on that day if you're.
Yes, we'll probably do an Instagram live feed.
If you're not in the Facebook or Instagram.
We could do an Instagram or
Facebook
or YouTube. You could do it on the phone. We might have to get new phones by then to be able to do it well.
Yeah, mangoes are really, really cheap right now. I saw them at a few places, Aldi's, Costco, other places. They're under $1 a piece. Both, I like sometimes they're called Haitian, or there's another name, the golden ones that are kind of curved and much smaller. They have just amazing flavor and texture. The big classic green and red ones also are some for less than $1 a piece. Those are nice because you can grate them when they're green, almost like green papayas and other things, and make salads and chutneys and vinegar them, and as well as do all kinds of things with them.
What was the Trinidad green mango?
Yeah, the Coachella.
Oh, I love Coachella. Can't get it here though.
Not the music festival, Coachella.
No.
It's a
And the Guyanese call it something
it's
different.
an Indian condiment made with shaved green mango.
It's like a curry.
Cumin, hot pepper, and vinegar, and a variety of other things.
It's really good to put over eggs.
Yeah,
Just if
meats,
you can find
eggs.
it, if you're in a big city,
It's a table condiment.
Yeah, it's nice.
And then a cooking item. But yeah, so you do shaved green mango, or you just do green mango salads. Lots of things you can do. Of course, the best way to get ripe mango is you can buy bags of it already chunked and frozen, which means you don't have to mess around with all of it and getting it ripe but not too ripe.
So I know we got to wrap up here. We keep getting distracted by other comments coming through here. And yes, Noah's Ark. I'm getting distracted again. Willow Run.
You know what the best part of it is? Free. There was a
Yes.
multimillionaire that I worked amongst, and he used to come into events. He goes, "You know what the best part of this is? It's free." And he had a Ferrari and all this other stuff, and and he still was inundated with free, and if it could be cheap stuff for free, and he still loved it.
And
we'd laugh about it all the time.
Yeah, so, right.
Like a free glass of cheap white wine, and with a bunch of cooks that didn't make a lot of money, and we're looking at each other like, you know what? A halfway decent glass of wine is better than a free glass of cheap wine. Sometimes. So, unless you don't have any dollars in your pocket, and then the free glass would be just fine.
I was gonna say Noah's Ark. Yes, I've been to Willow Run. I've been to their Yankee Air Museum, and we've actually.
You've been in that. And they're playing, right?
I went up. My sister and I went up with my dad in the B-17 bomber at Willow Run Airport and Yankee Air Museum, and that was a heck of a lot of fun. That was actually his 70th birthday party.
Because you flew from New York. I was working.
Yeah, I flew home. We're in New York.
Summer, I always have to work through the weekends.
Yeah, and then it was a surprise, and oh my gosh, we blindfolded my dad and drove him all around, like every which direction before going to Willow Run Airport, and we got there, and he guessed where he was. His sense of direction is crazy. So we actually, I guess we have a plane theme this year too, because we're gonna go to the air zoo here.
Yeah, but a lot of that's for the nieces and nephews.
Yeah, and hanging out, grandpa and the grandkids hanging out.
There's a great car museum here, and there's a great plane museum here. There was a lot of industrial activity, of course, through the whole state, but there are some wealthy people and clubs that have developed some really good museums that are accessible and really appropriate for all ages. So
Oh, and if you see me in any videos with an olive green hat, it says the Yankee Lady on the front. That's the B-17 bomber that we went in. So so I do still have that hat from 10 years ago, and I don't wear hats a heck of a lot, except I do more now here when I'm outside working in the yard.
Bugs and everything else in the sun. Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, we will wrap up, but we will be back next week, and I will try to get a Foraged Food up on the webpage on Friday, and that will be what we're talking about on Sunday at the live show. So if you guys want like a heads up on what's coming, check out the website on Friday. If you want, you can actually get email notifications whenever I update and send out a new blog on that. But like I said, it goes to the Facebook page and group as well. So you don't have to get the emails if you don't like emails, but there's 2 ways to go and get that. And everything's linked down below if you want to join either the Facebook group or page or see the web page. So we will wrap up for the night. I hope everybody has a good week this week, and hopefully it stops raining soon, because we're raining all day. But we'll see you guys next week. Take care, you guys.
Good night.